Welcome back to the IF podcast, where we talk about all things comedy. Today, we are going to talk about Whitney Cummings' special called Mouthy. It is on OnlyFans TV, so it's free. It's awesome. Everyone should watch it. Honestly, it's epic. I'm a huge Whitney Cummings fan. I think all of her specials, but this one is really good. She does push the envelope, but it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. But before we get into it, Grace, what's going on? How's your team?
They're just out here, wilding out. I actually,
Yeah.
I was thinking about it and I haven't really had any strange encounters recently. And I was like, why? Why is that? Because I've been too goddamn tired. I have not left the house. That is why.
I feel that. I think this time of year there's just a deep exhaustion because I'm tired on an existential level.
Oh, yeah, no, it's bone deep.
Yeah.
It's in my soul at this point, and it's every single day. And I don't know what day it is. I don't know what's going on. I just, kind of I'm here.
I feel that. I feel that as well. I absolutely feel that. And I also don't really have any team updates. I wish I
I
did.
know, me
I
too. They kind of make my life better, but
yeah.
I'm
I
just
would say
interacting with myself, which is just as strange, I think.
yeah, yeah, no, for sure. That makes sense. I do interact with myself a lot too. That sounds weird. That sounds like a code word for like masturbate
I
a
mean, I
little
do that
bit.
as well, but we're more talking about just like the conversation in my head, how it escalates very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
That's good. No, but I would say honestly though, I mean, because we talked a little bit about what your team means in an earlier episode. So if you want to know the reference, you're going to have to go back and listen. It's pretty funny. But in a positive note, as far as like adding someone to my own team, I 100% would draft Whitney.
Oh
She's
yeah.
Whitney Cummings. She's got to be, I think she's, I don't know. I don't know her, but like the way that I fangirl for her is massive, and I don't fangirl for people, but I love her.
Same. Well, I have never seen her before and before today and or whenever. And I instantly was like, okay, yeah, she's got the
Yeah.
right humor. And her delivery is excellent. I know we're not getting into it quite yet, but I just want to say the yelling part, she doesn't yell, but she does kind of she gets a little bit louder, but it works.
Wait, okay, no. So let's just get into it, guys.
Okay.
So today yeah, I already said this, but we're gonna talk about Whitney Cummings. This special is called Mouthy. She did it with partnership for OnlyFans TV. So I know when you guys hear OnlyFans, you think of all the nude models and all of that, but they're branching out. And so this is actually OFTV and it's free, which is amazing. So you can just go on, you don't even have to download an app, which I love. You just go to the website, click it, it plays. There's not even an ad to start, but getting into it because of what Grace just said, she in her intro, and I typically hate comedy intros. I actually liked hers because it's relevant. You see her warming up. And she makes the funniest crack about how she's lost her voice. And she goes, I guess that's good because I can't get too yelly.
Yeah.
And I
I
almost
know. I
died.
know. It was like a perfect segue from last week to this week.
It is. I was like, no freaking way. And
Mm-hmm.
it's serendipity. I don't know. These things keep happening to you and me where I feel like there's these little breadcrumb, like little nuggets of perfection. And I
Yes.
feel like they're just being left for
Well, they
us. I don't
are.
know.
You just have to pay
Yeah.
attention, I feel like.
Yeah, I get there is a term for that, right? Where you become aware of something, so then you see it all over.
Yeah, I'm
I,
sure there is. It's like when you meet someone with a car that and then you see their car everywhere kind of
yep,
concept. Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. But yeah, no, so sorry, I didn't mean to like it cut you off, but
Oh no.
I just got so excited that you brought that up because that was the first thing when I'm doing my rewatch. I'm like, no way is she talking about the yelling.
Right? No, first things first. I went, "Oh, okay. So you know."
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, and she does. Again, I agree with you. She can get passionate, but it's just, man, she's so good. She could do anything. I would stand there and let her yell at me, just
Yeah.
like Full Metal Jacket style.
I mean,
She
I
could
might be
just,
laughing the whole time, but yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
100%. I would be. I really would be. Okay, so Whitney, she makes a comment about Botox and weed. And I do want to preface a few things here. So, one, she's very pregnant in the special, which is really funny. So, she's talking about how she had to give up Botox and weed. The weed is not because she's pregnant, the Botox is because she's pregnant, because you're not supposed to get that when you're pregnant. So, just for hopefully you watched it, but that kind of makes that part a little bit like makes a bit more sense, I guess, and she makes some funny comments. I also want to preface that let's see. This special she did with OnlyFans because she really goes there and she hits topics that are definitely divisive and definitely would make people mad. So Grace and I are going to kind of navigate that. We are still going to like talk through her special a bit, but this is twofold. One, it's so good. I really don't want to give any of her like main bits away just because it's like too good. But also there's some subjects that we're probably not going to talk about as much as she does just because
Trigger
I think you
warning.
have, yeah, yeah, trigger warning. And that's all I'll say there. And that's again, like you just have to watch the special. Would you kind of agree with that, G?
Yeah, I mean, just her delivery in general and how she goes about like each I don't you have to watch it. We can't do it justice.
Yeah, no, I was watching it thinking this is actually going to be hard to recap because not only do I love it so much, I love it so much I don't want to give it away. And also I would say similar to Dave Chappelle, she has so much heart and so much thought in her that in these touchy subjects that she talks about that it's the delivery works.
Yeah.
Like if you can sit there and listen to it, I, I can't, I mean, obviously I can't speak for all those demographics, but I would find it very hard to be offended just because
That's
she
how I
comes
felt
across.
because she kind of she's not taking a side, she's not taking a stance really. She's just talking about it and I mean, honestly. And I think that's something we don't really do as much anymore. As a society, we don't talk about things honestly. We kind of skirt everything like, oh, don't offend this one and that one and all them, you know? But yeah. So I think she did a
Yeah,
really good job with how she discussed some of those topics.
I completely agree. But circling back to when Whitney is talking about Botox, it just kills me because she's talking about how she has to get Botox, not because she wants to look younger, but because she's dating men in LA. And
This reminded me of you.
yep, she goes, I just need to be able to seem like I'm interested in what they're saying. And then she starts going into like Burning Man and ayahuasca and these guys and they're talking about their journey. And I can personally speak to the fact that this stuff that like I guess if you're not from LA or you're not from maybe that kind of culture or haven't been around it, it seems like a parody, but it's true. I can't tell you when I was younger, I would go out how many men I met who would just come up to me and start talking to me about the most unrelatable topics. Like not to yell, but so unrelatable. Okay. They're like, yeah, and then it was really trying because I had to take my private jet and Burning Man, it's just not what it used to be. It used to just be, and I'm like, you're a billionaire.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yes.
Burning Man's not for you. They don't even want you there. Like, what do you mean it's not what it used to be? It's not what it used to be because you're there.
Yeah. I mean, I
Uh,
can't speak because I have never been to Burning Man, but I don't think it's that demographic. They just go because it's the cool thing, I guess now. Except for when it got flooded out and it probably wasn't as cool,
yeah.
but
Grace and I are from Oregon, so we grew up with all this kind of hippie stuff and the real deal.
yeah.
We don't need these sort of, but yeah, like you said, it's like cool thing, and it's also a chance for, in particular, these men that are a lot of them are from venture capital or maybe the music industry or the film industry. And this is like they get this time to kind of let loose
Hmm.
and like they call it like finding themselves and being one with the earth. And it's like, dude, Steven, you're just doing coke and
Yeah.
ayahuasca for 7 days in the dirt, by
In
the
the dirt.
way. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's dirt everywhere. So
Yeah, so that's a no from me.
it's a real quick nope from me.
Yeah, that's enough for me. But anyway, that was a long segue. It was so relatable to me. I don't know. It just made me laugh. I mean, yeah, and you don't have to be in LA. I think Grace, we've experienced that even in Idaho, like going up to catch them and just these wealthy guys that say stuff to you, and you're like, do you think you're being relatable right now?
Yeah,
Are
also,
you?
are you impressing me whatsoever? No.
Yeah,
Please,
no,
please
yeah.
go away.
Yeah, so that's funny. And then next Whitney, she does well in this part she's doing crowd work, which I like this trend where they're kind of opening not the whole special, but I do like how a few comedians have sort of worked this in where they're kind of doing this crowd work and I it doesn't work for all of them, but her crowd work is
It's
phenomenal.
so funny. Like,
I
and I think it
mean, it's
adds, it
brutal.
is, but it's funny because, well, I would feel very uncomfortable if I were in some of their positions, but I think it adds this dimension to her comedy that just, it shows how like many different sides she has and how she can be relatable, but also how she can just kind of improvise almost on the spot, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, Whitney is very talented. I know that she has we don't do like full bios on any of the comedians we cover just because I think that's a little boring. But I do know that Whitney has written for a ton of stuff. You know, she's written her own pilots. I know she has at least one biography out. I mean, she's really, really a very talented comedian, and it shows in that. I agree with you in her crowd work. But yeah, when she's doing crowd work and she's asking them about quitting weed,
Mm-hmm.
and there's one woman, and the woman is just her story's way too long. Her response is too long, and Whitney is just starts making the funniest face, and that reminded me of you. Like,
Yeah, well, let me tell you, when that woman started telling her story, I was like, oh, okay.
yeah, no, me too.
Like,
That
we're
you're
going
like
there. Just make it short and sweet. It's not
You're
about
like,
you.
and ma'am, you know this is being recorded.
Yeah.
So what is this? And can I just say again, do you know what that gave? That gave caller energy.
Mm-hmm.
Podcast
Yeah.
advice segment, caller energy. That's why I don't like it because they talk too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Man,
know.
I'm fired up
I
today, but
mean,
it's just
I'm starting to lower down. I did your what did you say? You know, I
oh,
took your advice.
oh.
Wow, see, it's really working. So we're good over here. But I do want to say the fact that she's pregnant during this, I think makes it better because she has that kind of spice, you know? And I don't know if
Mhm.
I haven't really watched any of her other stuff. I need to because I love her, but I think she has that kind of edge, you know, the hormonal, like, don't fuck with me
Yeah.
edge. And it works really well. I was like, okay, you got all of it today. You're bringing it all to the table.
I will say, as someone who's been a longtime fan of Whitney's, she has really come into her own. And I think part of that is the age that she's at because you kind of hear women sort of go through their 30s and they just kind of don't take bullshit the same way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big part of it. And I also agree with you. I think, you know, being pregnant and like now she's a mother and I listen to her podcast and just it just sort of changes you, like what you give a shit about.
Yeah.
But you'll love her comedy. One of her there's I don't remember the name of it, but she's got a couple specials that are talks about like birth control. And one of my favorite lines that I used to quote all the time, I'm actually shocked that I didn't like tell you to watch the special because she's like dating a younger guy. And sorry guys, because this is an older special, it's a different one, but she's dating a younger guy or someone, and he's all worried about getting her pregnant. And she's like, you know that I'm in this situation, you'd be the gold digger. Like, I'm the successful one. And she just goes, I don't want your broke ass baby. That I used to quote that all the time because it just killed me. Like, she's always been spicy, but she's so funny.
I know.
She
I
really
like her
is. Yeah.
spice. I really relate to it and I love it and I'm here for it. You know, the spice, we got to be a little sassy, we got to push the limits a little bit. Don't offend
Yeah.
anyone or maybe do. I don't know. Why not? Because everyone's offended anyways.
I think she probably offends a few people, but I think she makes up for it because again, she's intelligent. You know,
Mhm.
she does her research, which I love. She goes down rabbit holes, which is good.
I've never
We're
met
gonna
anyone who does that.
definitely not me
No.
all the time. Okay, we're gonna skip ahead here a little bit because like I said, I this is really a special that you guys are gonna have to watch because it's too good to give it all away. But when she's talking about being pregnant and the doctor's advice,
Mhm.
like the advice the doctors give,
Yes.
and then also the crazy things that people come up and tell you,
Yeah,
and
that you don't probably ever need to know or want to know and
yeah.
it's just share time.
No, it's share time. So, two things really quick. One, she, without giving too much away, she's like, yeah, this advice that these doctors give you, she's like, it just sounds like something from the 1950s where the doctor's like high-fiving the husband. You know, he's like, yeah, and anal after birth helps you lose the baby weight faster.
Yeah.
And that one killed me because I actually know this super cringy couple. The guy was someone we grew up with. I'm not going to name names here because I don't feel like dealing with the wrath of these people. But I just remember they had a baby. This was a few years ago. And afterwards, we were having a girls' night, and I wasn't very close with his wife. She like we grew up with him, but I was never close with her. I don't think she really liked me very much. But for whatever reason, she shared at the girls' night, probably because of wine, that she was complaining about said guy, and she's like, yeah, and I mean, I don't know what his problem is. Like, literally the week after I had the baby, I was doing anal sex with him just so he could get off. And I like shut down in that moment. I just remember taking the bottle of wine and like pouring it into my glass. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't really know what to
No.
say right now. And Grace, you can see in the notes, you know who I'm talking
Oh
about.
yeah. And I'm
Yeah,
deeply uncomfortable. I when
it's,
I first
yeah,
when I read that, I was like, who are we talking about here? And now I'm like, oh God.
yeah. No, it was just, oh boy. But anyway,
It's a
so
little
that made me,
TMI and nobody
it's,
needed to know, you know?
no,
Keep those little gems to yourself, write them in your diary, have a little me time and talk about it in your head and then move on and don't share.
okay, and maybe this is just me, but if you have to work that hard to keep a guy happy right after you've shoved his child out your hoo-ha and torn from here to Kansas,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but something in the relationship isn't working.
Yeah,
And sorry to call it, but they're not together anymore.
just
So
saying.
yeah,
I mean,
just saying, honey. I think I think that one was doomed from the beginning. But then so then she talks about that, and then she starts talking about the crazy things people tell you when you're pregnant or just after they've had a baby. And this one made me laugh because one of my good friends that Grace doesn't know as well, the first time Grace met her. Yeah. Yeah, Grace, you want to tell the story?
I mean, I kind of blocked it out. There was wine involved, thank God. But
Both times, both of these
yeah.
stories.
So, I mean, she just had to tell us about her birth and everything that happened in detail, by the way. And
Graphic
then later
detail.
I was like, you know, I'm really surprised you didn't show us a video of you giving birth. And she's like, well, I don't have one. Otherwise, I would have shown you. And I was like, oh, okay. Really
I
glad.
I think she did whip out photos
Oh, she
though.
did.
She did have photos.
Yep.
And also I do want to preface too, like the thing is she wasn't telling me the birth story. She was directing this at Grace, which was
Yes.
so interesting.
Because we
I
just
think
met. I mean, we
yeah, and
knew
I
about each other, but we had never met in person.
Right. And I think that was her way of trying to bond with you. But Grace and I, neither of us are mothers. We don't have children. And so it was just so strange because I'm sitting there and I'm watching Grace's face as she's hearing about this very graphic birth story. And I'm used to this friend and I love her so much. And she, she didn't mean any harm by it. I mean, it honestly was hilarious, but it was just Grace's like, I'm gonna get, do you mind if I have another glass of wine? Like,
Just top that off real quick, all the way to the top. All right, continue. Don't pull out any
yeah.
videos.
Yeah. Please don't show me a video because I can't mentally handle that.
No. Yeah, she's sweet
Oh.
though, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh no, great girl. I mean, truly. So lucky to have her in my life and you too. Now you guys are very close.
Yeah, well, closer and closer and closer, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
As as the days go.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like people talk about when you're pregnant, this obviously, people telling you stuff, but then also people touching your stomach. And I don't know. I feel like that's not going to be a good thing. I don't mind if people that I love touch my tummy, but if random people try to touch my tummy, like I carry a boot in my knife. Wait, rewind. A knife in my boot. I carry a knife in my boot for that reason. So we're not like, don't touch me. Unsolicited touching, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's weird. There is something that happens to someone or happens to people as a society when someone becomes pregnant, where it's almost like, I don't know.
It's a free for all.
Yeah,
Everyone's having a baby now. It's our
yeah,
baby.
yes,
We're
it's our,
pregnant.
yeah, we're pregnant. Oh God, we're pregnant. And they just, yeah, they do. They touch you. It is strange. It is a strange thing. I don't know what that is. I think, again, it's just like people want to connect and relate and they mean well, but it's, and I don't think Whitney really talks about this so much in the special, but she does on her podcast. Like, women also tell you the worst stuff. Like, they'll come, and I've heard this too from Jackie Schimmel because she also just had a baby, and she's like, these girls come into her DMs, and she's like, they tell me horror stories, and she's like, I don't. That not only does that not make me feel better, it does nobody any good, and like, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Keep
like
it to
you're like,
yourself. I'm so sorry you went through that trauma,
right,
but work through
right.
that. And again, write in your diary, talk through it to yourself, and then
Yeah.
don't share.
No, it's too much. Like, what are we accomplishing with that? And
Nothing.
I
More
think that's
anxiety, more stress for everyone else.
right. And another just really good, I mean, I understand everyone, and this plays into like why we've called this imaginary friends, is because now that we have the internet, there's this false sense of these people that we have these parasocial relationships with and thinking that they're our friends. And the truth is, what I might call Grace and tell Grace about is not actually what I should DM Jackie Schimmel or Whitney Cummings or
Nor would
anyone.
you.
Yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't, because I have very clear boundaries. But I think people, and they mean well, they get confused about that
I think so
relationship.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
don't know. All I can say is therapy, but
Well, I
well,
was going to say, call your therapist. You might need help.
yeah, phone a friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not an
But
imaginary friend, though.
not, not yet, because Grace doesn't have her hotline set up
Yeah,
yet.
I'm just waiting.
Yeah,
I have
we're gonna
actually, I
get
have
it.
a countdown.
We're gonna get it set up for you.
I'm
Don't
so
worry.
excited.
But okay, so getting back to Whitney, so she's uh oh, well, she starts talking about, the gender of the baby and how that's kind of, especially in California now, people get a little like touchy with that because of children choosing their own genders and etc. and,
Mhm.
and gender reveals. And without going into too much, though, this part I thought was really funny because she says something about how she feels like the baby choosing its own gender. She's like, that's like a rich person privilege. Like, that's rich privilege. Like,
Yeah.
that's a rich person thing. She's like, I grew up poor. She's like, so I was whatever gender my older sibling was. Like, and that just made me really laugh just because I think like knowing, I mean, neither of us like grew up poor. We grew up in like very interesting situations. I feel like sometimes we had a lot of money, sometimes we didn't. But just that aspect of like getting hand-me-downs, like you
Oh,
have an
yeah.
older sister,
Yeah.
so you could probably
All
relate.
of the
Like,
hand-me-downs. I used to be like, "Oh my god," which is so funny. This is pretty funny to me. The things that I appreciate now as an adult, I was mortified by as a child, like thrift store shopping, love it. I
hmm
will go to a thrift store all the time. I just go look for the craziest stuff, and I always find it and I love it. But as a
yeah.
child, my dad's friend, she loved thrift stores, and obviously my dad's age. She would take me back to school shopping, and I remember just being absolutely mortified. I was like, what am I doing here? And
Yeah.
now it makes sense. I'm like, why would I can buy a brand new shirt from a thrift store with the tag still on it for $5 that is originally like 150.
Well, especially because kids grow out of
They grow
clothing.
so fast.
Yeah, so fast. I never understood that. I stand by this. No matter how much money I have when I have a child, God willing, someday, like I'm not going to buy this kid designer stuff because what is the point?
Yeah.
Like it makes no sense. They first of all they ruin it. If you've been around kids, which I have, there are jam hands, they are running in the dirt. I mean, it is just forget it. It's the
Yeah.
clothes are ruined. So you might as well get them something secondhand.
Absolutely. Well, and you want them running amok, that's how they learn. And
Yeah,
that's the
that
best way to
too.
do it. Like, eat a little sand. It's good. It's fine. But I'm not putting you in brand new Nikes and a Prada tracksuit because that doesn't make any sense.
Even though I do love the
Oh
idea
my
of your
God.
child. Wait, I'm picturing your kid in baby Air Force Ones and a Prada
Well,
tracksuit.
I might buy
Ki-
them, but you never know.
Well, what if we get them a Prada tracksuit?
Yeah, they're
Like,
definitely going to be wearing tracksuits. So,
but I feel like for a kid, we could DH gate that. Like, please
oh
don't
yeah.
come after me, internet. But like, come on, for a kid, can we get them something fake? Is
Yes.
that
Oh
okay?
yeah. What do you
Yeah.
mean? They're gonna wear it for one day and then be 3 inches taller the next day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what are we gonna do? Capri Day? No, we're not. We're not doing that. Capris are not ever good. They never were. They never will be. Let's not do it.
Wait, I'm having such a trauma flashback when I tell you I had so many capris.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh, to be a 90s child, and they are so bad. You're
They're
right.
so bad, especially when they don't fit. They do that flare at the bottom,
Yeah,
or like
and they gave them
gauchos.
yeah, and they would give them those terrible names. Like I just remember like pedal pusher. Like what the fuck was a pedal pusher?
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm having a little flashback. I'm back on Jefferson Street right now in Eugene, just looking at what I was wearing as a okay. Anyways, I'm
Yeah.
traumatized. It's fine.
Yeah, we're traumatized. Anyway,
As I'm
yeah.
sitting here in my Adidas tracksuit.
Well, talk about trauma. So next, Whitney gets into trans issues, transgender issues. And I just want to say this whole part of her stand-up special and this bit is really well done. It's parts of it are funny, parts of it are heartfelt. We're not going to go through it. You have to watch it because it's so good. And I don't want to take apart something and have it be clipped and have something be like misconstrued. I think it's really important that people watch it as a whole.
Mhm.
But I will say towards the end of the bit, she does talk about how like men have seemed to have taken this on as their issue that like they need to take on. And that part is just so funny because she's like, no, no, no. Like, let us handle this. Like women, we've got this. And also, we handle things differently.
Very differently.
Yeah.
Well, and I just don't think that men fully understand the power of what we do,
No, they don't.
which is fine.
No,
I don't think they should.
No, they shouldn't, and also don't involve yourself in our
Yeah,
situation.
it's
Like,
not
we
your
have this
business.
we'll let you know, by the way.
Yep,
We'll let you know when we wanna call you up to handle
and
something,
we probably
but
won't.
yeah, no, we've got this. Yeah, she just said she's not scared, and I love it. I love that she's not scared. I love that she goes there. I think it's so important to talk about stuff. And really quick, because I reference him a lot, she she does say she's like, and this is kind of me trying to do a quote of hers. This might not be exact, but she's like, Whitney, you can't make fun of trans people. It's been a hard year for us. Dave Chappelle made fun of us. And she just goes, if you're mad about what Dave Chappelle said about trans women, wait till you find out what he's been saying about women in general. And that was just, I thought, so good and so poignant because so many of these comedians, and not just comedians, rappers. I mean, it runs the gamut. Look at how they in particular have spoken about women for
Yeah,
decades, and now you're gonna be mad because they make a bit. Like it's anyway, that had me. I love that. And everyone, I mean, not everyone, but I've referenced quite a few times the respect I have for Dave Chappelle and his level of like just how iconic he is,
oh
and
yeah.
it's honestly an honor if he talks about you. That's where I was trying to go with
Yeah.
that. But but
Yeah.
yeah. but but as a regular woman, what do they call us? Like a cis woman? I don't know.
Yeah,
Like like
cisgendered something.
we've been taking it for years,
Yeah,
you know? Yeah.
yep.
So
So, yes, welcome.
yes, welcome, as Whitney says.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we'll move on from that, but I thought that was pretty funny. A good
That
moment.
was a real knee slapper there.
Thanks, Grandpa.
You're welcome. Oh, but
We're gonna
yeah.
have we're gonna have to get you like in the podcast where they have like the little audio
Oh,
buttons they
yeah.
hit.
Oh, I was thinking about it the whole time.
That
Got
would be
them
really funny.
zingers, you know?
Oh boy. Oh, but she's feeling it.
Oh, I'm feeling
Um,
it, Emily. It is good. It is very good.
yeah. I have no idea what she's talking about.
Mm-mm.
Never have I ever recommended that somebody take their
Happy
recommended and
pills.
prescribed happy
Yeah.
pills.
Ah,
Yeah, this is a happy pills proud podcast here. We stand with the happy pills.
I mean, yeah. How else
How
are you
could
gonna
you
be
not?
happy? Like, some days you just need a little extra support.
Yeah, I really thought you were about to say exercise.
Oh, well, that too. I mean, that helps, but I didn't feel like doing exercise, so, you know.
Yeah, no, and I fully support that, but I was like, why would you come in here with that kind of negativity right now?
No,
Like,
no.
like,
Let me
like
tell you, I am
okay.
wearing my tracksuit, but there is no part of me that is doing anything involved with track.
Do you want to know something crazy? I have jeans on right now.
If you had just seen my face.
No, I know. I have denim
Ooh,
on.
I got really upset. Are you
It,
lounging in denim?
yeah, they're my nice ones,
Mm,
my expensive.
yeah,
No, they're actually very comfortable. I needed to
allegedly.
feel well, I have a full set of jewelry on and I have denim on
Did you put
and
the ring on?
yeah, I put the ring on.
Is it stuck?
Probably because it's a little too big for the one thing. No, not that ring.
Okay, good. I'm like,
Uh, but
we
this is a
still haven't
different
learned.
we're by the way, we're never gonna learn. Um we have this is our relationship is I call Grace about once a day, once every 2 days, or I put in the group chat and I'm just like, guys, I put my ring on again. I put it on, it slipped right on, and now I can't get it off. And they're like, why do you keep putting it
The
on?
definition of insanity says
Well, the definition of Emily is bored says.
pierce my ears and put all the tight rings on.
Yeah, I didn't do that either. I didn't repiece my
Mm-mm,
ears.
no.
I don't know why I can't talk today. I just said pierce. So
Yeah,
weird.
you said pierce.
Pierce. I
Gotta
pierced my
pierce my
ears.
ears.
Where would I be from? Is that Boston?
It might be, but it was butchered, so.
Yeah, okay. Anyway. So, Whitney Cummings, my queen. Yeah, okay, then men adjusting their junk. She talks about that. That's pretty funny. I liked that bit. It's a good one. And then the last part that I think we're really gonna get into here, this just is hilarious. She's like, "Why are all guys just ripped now?
Yeah,
Like, you guys are just all
all of
ripped.
them.
You're." And she was like, "Nobody's gonna draft you." Like,
No,
not just, by the way, she's not just talking about for war. She means like in
anything.
general, are you preparing to play for your favorite sports team? Do you think you're gonna run into Joe Rogan? Like, what is happening? And why are you like this? Like, why are you out there like flipping
Yeah,
tires?
nobody needs to be flipping tires. Also, I would just like to say I'm all for being healthy, being fit. I love a good muscle, right? That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's this obsession with it now. And it stems from maybe TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
maybe just everyone getting older and being like, "Oh no, I'm fat." But I don't know. I'm not sure. So I'm all for it, but I just don't think that everyone is doing it in the healthiest ways, you know?
No, you hit the head on the nail though. Like that it's the internet because and she even talks about that too. Like again, not to take her material or give away her bit, but this really reminded me of someone that I dated in the past is these guys, they listen to these motivational speakers. I'm not going to name names, but they also listen to like Joe Rogan and all these different guys and they consume this all day long. Like they're
Mhm.
sitting there just scrolling and watching these videos and they're like this guy's morning routine and he gets up at 4:45 and he does an ice bath and then he runs up a mountain and
And he doesn't eat for a week and calls it intermittent fasting.
yeah, just the craziest shit and you're like, Ted, I think maybe I don't know, you work in software sales.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that you need to be able to run up a mountain.
No.
I don't call me crazy.
No. And now if it's
You know?
like you like to go hiking and you like to see the scenery, that's different. You're not in the army. You're not training for anything. You don't need to have a rucksack on.
No, yeah. Oh my gosh. Grace and I used to see this guy would be driving in Charleston. We literally every day around the same time of day. And he was just had uh it's not a rucksack. What is that? It's like a weighted vest, like the training vest.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a ruck something.
Or
Like
is that a
I
rucksack?
think
Maybe
it
that is a
no, I think it
rucksack.
is. I think that that's what it is. It's like the weighted maybe not though. Maybe the sack is the backpack. I think it might be.
Yeah, I think a rucksack is the
Yeah,
backpack,
but they
but
wear like the weighted vests and they like put more weight in it and they're, oh, let's run up a mountain. And then they like pass out and die. And you're like, okay, well, maybe that wasn't, hindsight's 2020. Maybe don't do that, but it's fine.
this is so funny because when I listen to a podcast, this must be how guys feel when they listen to podcasts about like girls are talking about sports and they don't know what they're saying. Or like when I listen to a podcast and someone's getting the information so wrong and we're just talking about military terms, like we know, like we have any idea what we're saying.
Yeah.
Like we're like, yeah, so he's out there and he's in his PT and he's got his rucksack. But anyway,
And
he's
his
just
PT
walking down.
cruiser.
No, his PT outfit. I will give you a bonus in life if you can tell me what PT outfit stands for.
PT.
PT.
I'll have to think on it. Don't tell me yet.
Okay. Okay.
It's something
All
training,
right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
I know. I feel like
The first word is really obvious when you think about rucksack and what that guy was doing.
probably training.
No, I think it's physical test,
Oh, it is. No,
technically.
it is
It's
physical tests.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
because
either
they do.
physical test or physical training. The T is actually the part I'm not sure of,
Yeah,
but I know that
but I feel like it is their test. It's like they have to do because they wear that when they're doing their like
yeah,
exercise. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
yeah.
It's fine. I'll ask Tommy when he gets home. He knows everything about the military, even though he's never been in it, because he loves it.
Yeah, that's typically men who love the military were either in it and they're like die hard, like, yeah, I was in the military, or they were never in the military.
Yes.
And then there's the middle ground men who were in the military and they're like, yeah, it fucking
Yeah.
sucked. Like,
I
they're
mean,
like,
yes.
they're like, we couldn't
Hoorah.
get peanut. Yeah, hoorah. No, but I do want to just say, just in case anyone's listening to this, I have the utmost
Oh,
respect
same.
for the armed
No, I do too.
forces.
I do
Yeah.
too. I just think
My
it's
grandfather
funny to
was a
me.
Marine, and yeah, no, you got it, you gotta laugh.
You have to
That
laugh.
part was funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this guy, we would just see him, and
In his
I
booty
get
shorts.
yeah, short shorts, his PT shorts.
Yeah, probably having to adjust his junk every so
Wait, wait,
often.
wait, wait. They're called Ranger panties.
Oh
That's what
God.
those are. You're welcome. Love that. Don't ask why I know this.
I know why you know this.
Anyway, we've segued so far.
I know,
Who
I
knows?
know.
He was training, but that's a very good example of, sir, if you weren't training to get into the armed forces, then what are you training so hard for?
Mhm.
Because
Because we
it's
don't actually know he was training for that.
maybe he was training to run away from an alligator
That is possible. Or
or
to
tackle an
wrestle. Mhm.
yes, to
Yeah. He's
wrestle an
like, "You
alligator.
can't do the death spin on me, motherfucker. I got you in a headlock."
You know, after 2 years, I'm so glad we solved the mystery.
I know.
Circling back to Whitney and Mouthy, just the last bit really quick. She again when she's talking about these guys and their training, and she's like, yeah, and there's just fucking protein powder everywhere. Just
No, it is. What are they doing? Just picking it up with both hands? Yes, yes, they are.
yeah. But that made me laugh so much and reminded me of how there's this universal thing with men. Guys, what's the deal with when you shave?
Dude,
What's the deal? You
dude.
you clean the sink, but you don't realize that there are
It's
beard
everywhere.
shavings all
It's
over the
everywhere.
counter. Like, sir, do you not see that?
No,
So your protein powder and your beard shavings, we need to talk,
it's a
okay?
cocktail, they mix it together. But let me tell you, so the other day I had this conversation with my boyfriend because I was like, dude, it's everywhere. Like on the counter. I don't he's like, "No, I clean the sink." Sure, that's great. Wipe off the counter. There's stuff on the counter, so you have to move it and wipe it down. And
Yeah.
he has one of those beard bib things, that you hook onto the mirror and you shave and it all goes in there and you just dump it into the trash.
Okay.
And so he goes, I was like, why don't you just use that and then you just dump it in the trash? You don't have to clean up. And he goes,
Yeah.
well, it doesn't really make sense. Like you just put it over your shirt and everything goes everywhere anyways. And I said, no, you put it around your neck and suction it to the mirror. And he goes, oh, is that how it works? And I was like, oh my God. So you've had this thing for a year now, never used it, never looked at it long enough to know how it worked, and just think that you're putting on a bib?
Oh my gosh. Okay, also I'm shook because I had no idea. I
Yeah,
didn't know that. I feel like this is actually a fail on the advertiser's part, like on the product
it's
part.
not because there's a picture of it and how you're
Oh,
supposed to use it.
okay. Well, I just want to say in his defense, sometimes reading pictures and
Yeah,
directions,
I don't do it.
it's not a millennial strong suit.
No.
I've noticed as a generation we don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, like they're like
Yeah.
sign and consent. I'm like, okay, thank you. And they're like, did you read it? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, are you sure? And I'm like, no, I'm not sure,
You're
but
like
don't ask me again. You have my signature. That's what you wanted.
that is so funny. All
Yeah.
right, well, you know what, Manscaped, get on it.
Yeah.
Fix the problem,
Yeah.
and please, for the love of God, send her boyfriend Tommy some new products
Please.
because it's driving her crazy. I
It is.
mean, no, men need to get it together. And actually, that's a perfect segue just to her final point because she talks about crypto and it really makes me laugh because she's like, so you guys just started to not trust things. So you just made up money and you made up money that was confusing specifically to us, no
Yeah.
matter how many times you explain it to us. Like we're still not sure what it
It's their
is.
own
Um,
fucking fairy tale fox.
yeah, no, it's literally fairy tale fuck, and I couldn't agree more. So yeah, that was really good. And then Whitney Cummings, she ends with more crowd work. It's it's exceptional. I have no notes for her. Like I loved it. Every bit start to
Oh yeah,
finish.
I mean, she gets top tier.
You know what? Maybe it's the golden microphone. If you have a
Oh,
perfect special, you
it's
get
a
the
golden
golden
microphone.
microphone.
Yeah, mic
Yeah,
drop.
mic drop,
Yeah.
gold. But it's gold, so be
Yeah, so
careful.
don't actually drop that one, drop the one that you were using before
Well,
they gave it to you.
but only because it gold is soft, so it might dent and also it could really hurt your foot. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Dropping
Yeah.
something on your foot is the absolute worst.
Okay, well, listen, imaginary friends, we need you to watch Whitney Cummings' special Mouthy on OFTV. It's free. I highly recommend that you check out her podcast. It is on iTunes and Spotify and anywhere you can find podcasts. It's really, really good. It's very funny. She has great guests on, and not just comedians. It runs the gamut. Support her. She's got some other specials. I think that one is on HBO Max or Max, whatever we're calling it now. So check her out for sure if you haven't before. For the end of the episode, we thought it would be fun if we each pick something random to roast, and that's how we'll wrap things up. There is one rule, and the rule is that the other person is not allowed to disagree. They are only allowed to jump in on roasting of said thing, and that's it,
Mm.
even if you don't agree. It's a
So
hard
it's like a
rule.
yes and kind of situation.
Exactly, because that's how roasts go.
I'm ready.
Like you,
It
like you
might
could
turn
say
into me
blonde.
roasting you, but
That's
fine.
okay. So my roast for today is calling into a podcast to ask for advice. That might be cool if you want to basically just have a stranger that you admire tell you that your life blows, because
Mhm.
that's pretty much all it is.
But also, I feel like too, and maybe this is just pertinent to me, I don't know, but I don't care if it doesn't interest me.
I'll tell you right now, you don't want advice from me.
That is true. But also, I'm very nosy, so call in, tell me your juiciest, deepest, darkest
Yeah,
secrets. I wanna know.
but
I'm ready.
here's the thing though. That's different. That's a different segment. I didn't say I hate
Mm.
those segments, because you can have one where people call in and they tell you stuff.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
for instance,
But we just don't answer. It's not a yes and
well, you
situation, it's
could
like a
you
we
could
listed.
comment on it. It's different than calling in and saying, Sarah, my maid of honor, we've been friends since we were 6, and she
Throw
doesn't
her the
want.
lake immediately. I don't even know the whole story. Throw her in the lake. Let her cool down. She'll be fine. She'll come back with a straight mind. She'll be ready. She'll be ready to help out. She's probably just jealous. See? Perfect advice.
I'm actually in tears right now. Over the lake. You know what? After that, maybe we will have an advice segment, because
I
that
think it
was
would be good.
beautiful. I think people will be angry though, because we won't make it through their stories. So
I don't want to hear the whole story. Throw her in the lake. That's it. It solves all the problems. It gets your anger out. It helps her cool off. Maybe she gets a little angry, but you might be laughing by the end of it, or you might not be friends anymore.
she gets some cardio because she has to swim
Yeah.
back to shore.
Are we helicoptering her into the middle of the lake? No, I just throw her in a little bit.
Say anything about helicoptering, but I don't know. I feel like when you get thrown into a lake, you automatically are about 5 feet out, probably. You didn't. Here's the thing.
Oh.
You said throw her in a lake. You didn't say push her in a pond.
Okay, well, there's a couple things that we need to discuss here, Emily.
Okay, let's talk about
A,
it.
how big is Sarah? We don't know how far she's going. Do we have someone that can pick her up and throw her? How are we getting her into the lake? We could walk her down the dock, have a pleasant conversation, just push her in.
This
There's
is,
a lot
you
of
know what?
there's a
I
lot of
want you to
variables.
know something, that you have restored my faith in this segment that doesn't exist for us, because you're asking the pertinent questions, the ones that I want asked. How big is Sarah? How
Yeah,
big is she? Can we push her in the lake?
there's lots of questions. I have questions
You do. I have questions as well, which we all know about me.
about this made up Sarah. We don't even know her.
Sarah sucks.
She does. I mean, if she sucks enough that we want to throw her in the lake, you probably don't want her to be your maid of honor.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, though, you should just not get married. In fact, just light the whole wedding on fire. Burn it down. Burn it to
Oh,
the
that's
ground.
even better. And then blame it on Sarah.
Oh my God, perfect.
Yeah, you get a
have
full refund.
scapegoat. Scapegoat,
Yeah.
refund, we're done.
Why did she throw
Congratulations.
herself in the lake? She felt bad for lighting the whole thing on fire.
Oh my God. It's a beautiful story. It's epic.
I love it.
It's the end of a years-long friendship. You're so welcome, dear listener. And
Sarah's actually her sister.
well, you didn't let me get there, so we have no idea. We know they're childhood friends.
Yeah,
That's
we have
about as
no
far as
idea.
I got.
That's
And then you threw her in the lake.
well,
So,
I thought it was the best choice at that
I think
point.
it was a great course of action. I think I love that this has digressed into what it has, because this was supposed to be a roast, and
Oh yeah.
we're so bad at life that it turned into a fake caller segment. Okay, so on that note, you guys, thank you so much for listening along, being a part of the journey. Rate, subscribe, follow the podcast, leave us a comment, and we will see you next week. And TTYL.
Bye.
Bye.